So, pieces of freeloading pieces of garbage. So, truly, pieces of garbage. Jesus didn't deal with the homeless. Read everything in the Bible. He dealt with the working poor. He dealt with the working man. He did with the tax collector, a working person. All of them were working people. Paul wasn't a homeless guy. None of the disciples were homeless people. They were hard-working individuals. So it's different. The church was built on truly hard-working individuals, not bums. So back then, if you didn't work, you didn't eat, you died. So people needed to provide for each other, so they needed to work. So if you didn't work, you were a total disgrace. Truly. Because back then, it wasn't easy to feed people. But as things got easier to feed people, what did people do? They got lazier and became bigger bums and pigs. Not better. They should have became better. They became worse. They became deadbeat, low-life pieces of garbage. So with all this goodness around them, they became bigger deadbeats than ever before. So, hates their guts. They got all these elementary schools. I'm talking here. And these people have all these opportunities. I used to interview people from immigrants from all over the place, over decades. And they came in. America's the land of opportunity. I can drive this cab and all these hours and earn this money and so on. And I don't understand. They're not bubs. They don't go into the ghetto. But here's Soundbar and Electric and Y-Bar. So, whoa! Well, whatever. Still, people, I don't understand. That's why Volkswagen came up with the automatic braking. You can't run a stoplight. The car stops. You're not allowed to run a stoplight. They have it already. It sees it's red. Even if you're driving it, it stops the car. You can't run the light. It's against the program. But anyways, this has a different crowd. And it made it, basically, it went to an Asian crowd. Indians, East and West Asians. But they don't hang out together. The funny thing is, you think, nah, the Indians, they went downstairs and hung out with themselves. And the downstairs area, the upstairs area was all the East and Southeast Asians. They actually didn't hang out together. You think, oh, they're all Asians. Nah. They migrated to their people. That was their friends, right? They were Indian. And they went to the Indian people. And the other ones, the Chinese and Koreans and all that, I used to hang out there with these. And they would be on the main floor. And so it naturally just polarized. It's because people who are they connected to, who they integrate with, is because they have relations with these people. Like hanging out with Jimmy. Who did I hang out with? Lots of Koreans. Same thing with Jen. Lots of Koreans. Unbelievable amount. They tend to migrate to people like them. I told you with the Korean churches and that. They go in and, like my friend Chris, he went to an Indian Catholic church here in Chicago. And it was all these Indian people, and they were Christians, And they, not Catholic, but a Christian church. I don't know what denomination they could be. I don't know. But anyways, they went to an Indian church. That's why you have a Polish church. And you have all these churches that have these different populations, like the Serbian churches. There's a Serbian church down there. So people are Serbian, go to the Serbian church. It's just naturally people want to connect and they want to find this connection, and so they look for this path to connect with somebody that has similar background. And so somebody that's Serbian understands the culture, and they're going to be easier for them to connect with. But you could have grown up in Serbia, maybe you're an Indian and you worked in Serbia and so on. Well, not off the bat will they accept you, but when you start telling them, well, I worked in Serbia and so on and so forth, and I spent, like my friend Michael, he was in Czechoslovakia as a bartender. And so it's the same thing. And you start and you're like, yeah, you know, I worked in Czechoslovakia, I worked in Prague, and I was a bartender and lived there for a while. He really liked it. He worked in a sports bar in Prague, Czechoslovakia. And my roommate, Mark Schenkel, said Prague, Czechoslovakia is awesome too. Had the glass work. Michael, he's Jewish. No anti-Semitism. He loved working in Prague. And funny story for him, he was broken down on the highway one time. And Michael Cohen, he was broken down on the highway, and I was going down to Tucson, and I'm like, oh, I saw him. And then I pulled over in front of him, and then I backed up in the emergency lane a little bit and helped him fix his car. But again, it was by coincidence. And he owns a pool company and does pool cleaning in the Scottsdale, Tucson, Tempe area. Just like the other guy, Mike, does it in Florida. Now Danny took over. But pool cleaning is... So, what type of clubs are you getting? So people go in like EDM music. Like here's Sugar, it's still closed down. It was a lounge. Was a lounge. But the whole point is the type of music they're going there. Like Michael, he's Korean, but he likes EDM. And so he goes to all the EDM. He's older, 30s, now 40-something, and he loves EDM music. So even in his 40s, I would assume he was a huge EDM fan. The funny thing is, that's what we specialized in at Excalibur. The Dome Room specialized in EDM. So we were the home of EDM music in Chicago. Not other clubs did that. That's what Club The Shelter used to specialize in house music. And that made them different than all the other nightclubs because they specialized in house music, which is created in Chicago, but they specialize in that type of music. It's like here, we go over to Howling at the Moon. There are piano players specializing in certain types of music. And so, an Irish bar, I would assume they play Irish music, right? Some of it, at least U2 is an Irish band out of Dublin, right? In that area. So I would assume they play Irish music. They can play Irish rock. You can be a rock Irish bar. There's many Irish rock bands. But they specialize and get known for their type of music, their atmosphere. So that's what sets you apart. All these places don't understand this. Truly understanding how they're making themselves stand out amongst the crowd. So what types, you go to a blues bar for blues, right? You go to a jazz bar for jazz. And the reason people go there is because it's specialized. Like Buddy Guy, I forget, is his rhythm and blues or whatever. And you go to these places, Kingston Mines, for their specialized music. And so people go to these things because they have a focus, and people get to know the focus, and they keep on deepening the focus. If you change the focus, you're going to lose. So this place right here, this was known, what's its focus? It's a knockoff like on the other bar, Boss Bar. What was it known for? It's a bar with incredibly hot bartenders that are female. Truly. And so they hire really, really hot girls. And so traders used to go in the Boss Bar, and they used to go in the Snickers. Because the girls that worked there behind the bar, and there's one I had a crush on, I forget the girl, at Snickers. But again, they go there because they're going there for a certain feature. And this is why Hooters went down. Hooters used to have a certain type of girl, a certain standard. So they don't come down to get fleeced.
$8?
Nope. They don't come down to get fleeced. So people don't come down here to get fleeced. They don't come down here because I want to come downtown Chicago to have a good time. Not, I come down for the homeless people. I didn't come down for the homeless people ever. I did things trying to get them off the street, but I didn't come down here. I worked at Baja. We dealt with no homeless. Zero. Why do you think Mayor Daley moved out of the Jones Academy, which is now our school? They moved Pacific Gardens all the way down.